Hey guys. Hey guys. Today we're going to do things a little different around here. A little different. I am making a video like a normal YouTuber, like a real YouTuber, where I just sit in front of the camera and talk. And today I'm going to talk about my experiences with college. Now, why am I talking about college? What authority do I have on college? When do I even make videos about college? Never. But I am actually making a video for the other channel, the main channel, whatever, for about remote learning and its impact on students and their mental health and all that, you know, like video essay journalism type shit. It's heavily edited, unlike this, which is just me talking. And that kind of got me thinking, you know, is college even worth it? Would I go to college? Would I continue going to college? Because I have gone to college. We're going to get into that in a minute. But what is even the fucking point? Oh, I cursed in the first. I'm editing that out. But what is even the point of going to college? It's, you pay a lot of money. You kind of learn some stuff, but mainly you're trying to get a degree. You're sort of indoctrinated. We're going to get to that later as well. And now you don't even get to hang out with people. You just sit in your house on your computer or your dorm. I guess some people sit in their like student housing apartments and remote learn as well. No one's doing that, but maybe they are. The point is, I just thought without the physical campus, without meeting people, college is fucking stupid. I cursed again. I cursed too much. Shit. Demonetized. Anyways, doesn't matter. Who cares? I don't make any money off this. Anyways. Without the social experience, college seems completely pointless. That's what it looks like to me. And in a weird way, I feel like I got the remote learning experience before it was mass enforced. I feel like back in the day when I went to college, which wasn't that long ago, I'm not that old. I'm 26. Do I look old? I don't know. I'm 26. And I graduated high school in 2013. And the first year I went to college was 2013. I went 2013. I think I went 2014. I didn't go 2015. And then I returned in 2016. And then dropped out again. And then I went back in 2018. And that was the last time I went. And I tried so many different career paths. I did communication. I did film at one point. I tried to major in film at one point. And then I tried, what was the other one? I don't even fucking remember. Psychology. I am into psychology. I'm actually into all those things. I'm into communication. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what videos are. They're a form of communication. I'm into film because that's what I'm making right now. I feel like I have a, decent eye for what looks visually appealing. This video is not it, by the way. This is a YouTube video, unlike what I make, which is just like something else. I'm better than everyone. And the other one, psychology, is where I find the most meaningful messages, I guess, come from for a video, because I think it's like a life hack to philosophy when you realize everything that people experience and everything going on in the world is filtered through your mind. And so everything like politics, the economy, even medical issues, everything that has its own entire field, its own industry, its own social problems, even. All of these things kind of just come down to the mind and how people act in certain situations and why they act that way, and behaviors, learned behaviors. These kinds of things explain almost everything. That's kind of what I intuitively understood, and that's why I ended up taking psychology the most seriously. And even though I didn't get a degree, even though I dropped out multiple times, all that kind of thing, I think I learned a bit by going to college. I think I learned a bit about psychology. I learned a bit about filmmaking. And I learned a bit about I didn't learn anything about communication. You know what? That's not true. The best thing about communications was the speech class. I liked the speech class. I've always done well in presentations at school. I've always killed it at presentations, actually. Not because I'm not nervous. I actually do get somewhat nervous. I get like butterflies in my stomach and all that. But anytime I go up to the podium and present a video or give a speech or whatever I'm doing, I just imagine that I believe that what I'm going to say is so good that I'm nervous because it's going to be so good. Like, I'm nervous because these guys have no idea how good, like, the speech, the video I made, the PowerPoint, whatever. Like, I'm always trying to just add an extra little wow factor or like some comedy, whatever it is. It's not always something like that. So I've always killed it in that class and I always enjoyed it. But the reason I dropped out of college and the reason I found it was not for me it wasn't even because like my YouTube was blowing up and I'm like, oh, I can make so much money. Not at all. In fact, I think I have a lot of room. I definitely have a lot of room to grow on YouTube. I consider myself kind of small time still. I'm certainly not making a killing off YouTube. But the reason I dropped out was because it felt like college was just pointless. There was no point to go. I learned a bit, I learned a little bit, but the social interaction already was pretty much non-existent. And that I'm not necessarily blaming like the campus for that. I think it's something there's a much bigger societal thing going on. And I think this has been going on way before remote learning was implemented, which is that there was just this lack of the university I went to. Let me be clear about that. I know this doesn't apply everywhere, but the university I went to had this kind of soulless campus. It was a commuter campus, which not every campus is. A lot of them, students live in the dorms, and they just have this like very vibrant community on campus. But here it was a commuter campus. So people would just drive to school, park their car, take their classes, and then go home. And there was dorms as well, but it didn't feel like a home. Some universities, I think, are home for people. But I've talked with plenty of online friends who live across the country, across the world, who've echoed a lot of the same sentiments I was talking about in regards to just a complete lack of community and social scene at university. Whereas high school, by comparison, even if you had a shitty high school experience, even if you didn't like your high school, it was still full of people that you kind of grew up with. Unless you change schools very often, in which case, I'm sorry, that sucks. Unless you made the best of it, in which case, congratulations. But I noticed, I kept seeing in movies and films and stuff that college was going to be this wonderful place where you met a bunch of friends, you went to a bunch of parties, where everyone is just hanging out and having a good time, having lots of sex, meeting lots of women, and getting drunk all the time. School is lame. Classes are lame. Let's hang out. Let's go to Freddie's house and smoke some joints, you know? Not that those are the coolest things ever, but the point is college was sold as one big party all my life, through all the media, through even like older people would kind of attest to that. And maybe for a time, college was that. And maybe for some places, college still is that. But even that is kind of shallow anyways. I'm not even like a big party guy. I don't even really like parties. I never went to parties. I never went to high school parties. I didn't drink until after I was 21. And I don't think that that portrayal of college was even what I would have. It's not even what I would have wanted anyways. But that's how it was sold to me. And when I went there, I just found the complete opposite. It was like people were very focused on degrees. They took it seriously, is kind of what it is. And there's nothing wrong with taking college seriously, but it felt more like an institution than a big party. And again, maybe neither are good, but it didn't feel very fulfilling socially. That's for sure. And beyond that, of course, there are much larger reasons outside of that's like my personal reason mostly for dropping out, I guess. And again, like, I don't know if I would have even wanted to go to parties and those kinds of things, but I don't know what I expected exactly, but what I got and what I was sold were two different things. And I guess I didn't feel like there was much opportunity in that cold, soulless institution. But there are larger reasons outside of just that. Not only was it an institution, it was an indoctrination center. And I'm going to try not to get too political here, but because like I said, politics is surface level, and below that is something like maybe like sociology, and below that, I think, really is something like psychology, where, you know, this is like one level of issue, and then this is a deeper explanation, and this is an even deeper explanation that makes the most sense, or is the most direct, most actionable way to understand issues, in my opinion, is through the mind, at least as it pertains to humans, you know, like social, societal issues. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, I had, so for my communications degree that I was pursuing initially back in 2013 to 2014, I had to take a few electives. And one of them was women's studies. And I actually chose it out of a list of electives. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would you choose women's studies? Or what, you're going to complain about women's studies now? What did you expect? You know? Okay. All of that, let me just take all of that for what it is and say, sure, maybe I could have picked a better class. But this was an elective, and it was a popular elective. A lot of students took it, and I was like, what's the big deal? I'm going to take a women's studies class. Sounds kind of interesting. Let's study some women. I can't even name any women. So I took the class. First day, the instructor is, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way, I just mean this as a descriptive term. The instructor was, he had a lisp, and he was brown. He was a brown man, like Latino, and there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, he was a nice guy. I'll say, like, I never got into an argument with him. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I had no issues with the guy. First day of class, he defines feminism as equality, just people who want equality between the genders, which I guess sounds nice. But I think as we've come to learn over time, because this is back in 2014, remember, feminism, if it's even defined by that anymore, which maybe many would argue it's not even defined by that, it has crossed that boundary many times into the territory of basically being anti-men, putting rhetoric out that's very anti-masculine, toxic masculinity as like this huge boogeyman, the patriarchy, these constructs of, just the idea of blaming one gender for all of your problems is absurd and ridiculous. The genders or the sexes, however you prefer to call it, should obviously be cooperative, not competitive. That might get me in trouble because you might think, women shouldn't be competing with men in the workplace, which I don't mean necessarily. I just mean that men shouldn't hate women, but it is true that when you're competing in the workplace, that might cause different cultural reactions elsewhere. Anyways, this is a separate topic. We're just going to shelve that one for now. Not that I don't care. Cancel me. I don't fucking care. So the next, I'm not like giving a strong opinion on that because I don't have a strong opinion on it, just to be clear. I'm not like mincing my words because I'm hiding what I really think or something. So back to the topic. So first day of class. So the first day of class, he defines feminism as equality and only that. And then he does something which I did not expect at all. There's like 30 people in this class. A lot of men, mostly men, I think. And he goes up to each student individually as they're sitting down in class. And he asks them, like, this is an exercise in the class. It's like there's time put aside for it. It's not like he's just walking around while we're working on assignments. He asks them in front of everyone, are you a feminist? Yes or no? And before this exercise, he straight up says, he tells us he's going to do this. And he says, my goal is to make you a feminist. If your answer is no, my goal is to make you a feminist by the end of this semester. Verbatim, that's what he said. That is exactly what he said. So he goes up to every single student asking them, do you want to be, are you a feminist? Yes or no? Whether or not they want to be, he's going to turn them into one, apparently. And most people say yes. In fact, like 90% of the students, I think almost every single one, except for like one or two, says yes. Which makes sense. If you just define something as it's for equality, and then you ask them, are you for feminism, aka equality? Nobody wants to seem like a dick and be like, no, I'm against equality, right? So most people say yes. And including me at the time. Like, again, I'm not saying I was above this. At the time, I was falling straight for the indoctrination. I actually like became a Bernie Sanders socialist in 2015 or something, or yeah, somewhere around that time. Like, not straight up socialist, but like I liked a lot of the socialist ideas of like poverty. We got to help the poor, man, which is true, but like there's a whole nother discussion there. So I'm just going to shelve that too. Like, you're not thinking, like, you don't just print money out of nothing. Yeah. Okay. So the next point, a few days later, in the same class, we're doing another exercise, doing more exercises than a fucking PE class in women's studies. So the next exercise, we're actually literally outside on this like patch of grass, which is hilarious because again, we're in a women's studies class, and it's like we're playing what I can only describe as oppression Olympics, where, and I know that term has been used before, but I'm not. It's like literally oppression Olympics. We all had to stand in a line. And again, I didn't think this was that weird at the time. I was like, this is kind of weird, but okay, like whatever. We're out of class. I kind of like being outside, you know. I was so uninvested in school that I was like, whatever. Yeah, I guess we're doing this now. And okay, and so what it was is it was like, okay, I'm gonna say a bunch of things. And if you are any of these things, or maybe it's, yes, if you are any of these things, take a step forward. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. So the whole class is lined up. And if you are any of these things that the instructor is about to say, you take a step forward. Okay. So the first one is like, what was it? Is like, are you a minority? I think it was like something like, it was like, are you a minority? Like not white person, basically. Take a step forward. I was like, okay. So I think I took a step forward. Was that the question? It was something like that. Basically, look, all you have to know is it ended up with all of the white guys were standing in the line. Maybe like, I think the girls were one step ahead, and we had like one black guy or something in the class, if that. Maybe we had like a Hispanic guy. I was ahead of all the white people somehow. Well, yeah, I was ahead of like part of it. It was stupid. The point is, it was fucking retarded. And I was like, what is this? Many years later, not right after the incident, not many years, like I don't know, like 2 years later. And so that was ridiculous. And that was indoctrination. And there was a lot more, like another example. Okay. They might say that was all just a women's studies class. Okay. I took an English class, 2016. Great year, by the way. That was not a political statement. I'm not like a Trump guy or whatever. It was just a good year. And this is not like a long story. The English teacher made us write our paper on. She made us take a day off, a mental health break day. That's what it was. And I was like, why? Because Trump won. We took a mental health break day in English class because Trump won. That was the most ridiculous. Now, she did make us write our final paper. This might get a little controversial. This is going to definitely get controversial. She did make us, but it doesn't have to be. On, see, I don't even know if I want to go here. Let's just say some very hot button social issues based on race. Okay? And while I may not even disagree with the way those issues are framed, it was odd to be talking about crime statistics and, police shootings and such, in an English class final paper. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but like we had to write about it. And like not only did we have to write about it, we had to give a position, like a predetermined position on it. Like, tell me why this is true. Which again, I just didn't feel like it was appropriate. Even if I agree, even actually in that case, I happened to agree with with what the teacher was saying, with her stance that she was clearly trying to get everyone to say. But that didn't make it feel any less awkward or forced or weird that I was basically forced into a political position for the paper, for an English class. So I didn't like that. And just things like that rubbed me the wrong way with college. And so now with, and also, okay, zooming out even more, actually, degrees themselves are just not as worthwhile. Honestly, the biggest reason, those are all good stories, but the biggest reason that I dropped out of college was because I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I don't want to work like a traditional, I don't want to work for a company. Like, what? I don't want to work for Apple or whatever. I want to either start my own company or have a successful career as an independent artist. But turns out you got to work for those things. So that part is hard. But everything else is appealing to me. So I dropped out of college because degrees are worthless unless you are getting a degree that puts you into a very neat cubbyhole of a job where you're definitely working for either a massive company or, like in the medical field or something like that, where you're kind of a cog in the machine, And so unless you're getting a degree like that, college is pointless. Like there's no point. There's no point having it. What am I going to have a degree in journalism for or filmmaking? What? I don't care. Who cares about filmmaking degrees? Make a good film. That's it. You want to be a filmmaker? Make a good film. You want to be a good journalist? Okay. Make good YouTube videos that are journalistic or like whatever. I guess journalism, if you want to write articles for like the New York Times or whatever, but I mean, New York Times fucking sucks. So like all of the legacy journalism sucks. So be an independent journalist. That would be way better. Studying music in college, fuck that. What? Just play the piano at home or something. Have a jam session with friends, even better. Form a band just for fun. Form a garage band. So many degrees are pointless. Communications, just fucking talk. Literally, this is communications. My communications degree was making YouTube videos. Even my like business marketing, depending on how seriously you take YouTube, it's like it's basically Google University. Running a YouTube channel is Google University, where your degree is the play, like the play button is like an associate's degree. This thing is like an associate's degree, and the golden play button. I think that's what's going on. I think we're all a part of a massive like basically it's a government Google operation this is the new university. YouTube is a university too. It's college too. Golden play button is a bachelor's, and I don't know. They have the diamond play button or what is that even real? That's like a master's. PhD is like the PewDiePie like Brofist play button or what Ruby one. What is that? Is that real too? I don't even know. Like past a certain point, we're just fucking mining for YouTube play buttons. But the point is that if you want to do anything creative and you don't want to work a soulless 9-to-5 job for the rest of your life and be tied down to a company, which by the way, I'm not saying working a 9-to-5 job. Let me be clear. I'm not saying working a 9-to-5 job is bad or even necessarily demeaning. And also it's not permanent. You could work a 9-to-5 job and transition that into your own business. People do it all the time. That's what America was built on. That's what small businesses are built on. People working for restaurants and then starting their own. People working for Home Depot and then starting Lowe's. So it's not bad. But if you want to be a creative person and you want to kind of form your own career, definitely don't do what I did, because I'm probably behind a few years. But definitely do what you want to do and don't wait for a degree to validate yourself, and don't get indoctrinated like I sort of did, and improve yourself with your free time. Yeah, that's a good one. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been Glink. You don't